Hello, this is Piedra Luna back in the saddle, producing content. In case you were missing me, or in case you're new to the channel, for this week I wanted to do a collective reading of how the energy is, and this is probably the energy as well until probably June, middle of June, June 7, June 11. Right now we have the influence of two planets, which as an intuitive person, as an intuitive witch, and by seeing the behavior of people around me, I definitely can tell that the planets are influencing our behavior, our thoughts. Probably the energy that's in the cosmos is somehow getting to us. How exactly it works, I'm not sure. Maybe it's the gamma rays. Maybe it's well, we know for sure that the moon has an influence on human beings, on all living creatures. A lot of mammals, or most mammals, have their reproductive timing set up with the full moon. We know that the tides are influenced by the full moon. If you work in a hospital or you're a nurse, you know for sure that during full moons the hospitals are full of sometimes lots of accidents, a lot of accidents caused by anger, or a lot of people that have mental problems also tend to act up during the time of the full moon. I don't know how you were feeling during that past full moon because it was very, very strong. If you want to leave a comment how it impacted you, you're more than welcome to do so. I also seen in my regular life how the full moon influences people with Asperger as well. I also read that people with dementia also act up during the full moon. We usually tend to feel more aggressive or intense or passionate. It can go either way, but it usually feels very heavy. And we also had an eclipse, blood moon. I was not fortunate enough to see it because the sky was clouded, because I live in the tropics and usually the nights can be cloudy during the rainy season. So definitely the moon has an influence, and why not the rest of the planets? And from my experience of reading tarot cards have a correlation with the planets, and they tell us how the planets are affecting our behavior and the lessons that they are giving us, because that's the reason they're there. Is not arbitrary, is part of the whole scheme that and plan, divine plan, that of nature, of creation, that sometimes is difficult for us to grasp because it's way bigger than us. But certainly right now we have the influence of Mercury going retrograde, and we have Venus as well. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and the ruler of Virgo. Both Gemini and Virgo are very analytical signs. Well, especially Virgo is very, very analytical. To the T. And Gemini is I have an ascendant on Gemini. Gemini is a sign that can have difficulties making decisions because we go from one opposite to the other, and we want to see all sides and all perspectives of a situation. So you might see a Virgo, I mean not a Virgo, well, maybe even a Virgo as well, but a Gemini changing their mind from yes, I want to go, to no, I don't want to go, until they make the final decision and say, okay, this is the final decision. I'm sure this is what I'm going to do. So we can see that influence right now. And with the conjunction of Venus, Venus is a planet of relationships, not only romantic, but as well like work relationships and family relationships. But right now, the influence is mostly, and because of the pandemic, on relationships. So, what are we going through right now? Collectively, maybe not all of us, but many of us are feeling it. Especially during that full moon, I did feel that strong influence of, and even starting before on the new moon, we had that conjunction already of Gemini and Venus starting to have an effect on us of starting to evaluate, do an evaluation of our relationships, of our past relationships, of the relationships that we want to have, the romantic relationships that we want to have in our future, the things we want to change, the things that we're longing for. We might go back into thinking about our past relationships to evaluate why they didn't work out, or maybe we might be crying over spilled milk, over things that we could have done better and we didn't. And this is the energy that I'm seeing here right now on these cards. As you know, this is a regular deck of cards, like for playing poker. It's, let me see if I can find the box somewhere over here. Okay, here it is. Here's the box. So that you can see it. Is pretty cool. I collect playing cards as well, because you can read them as tarot cards. The only thing is that they don't have the major arcana, but it's fine. They still tell you what's going on. In the description of this video, you can see my wish list on Amazon, and you can find these cards there if you want to buy them. So the information that I see here, we have several fives. Excuse my wheezing because I'm an asthmatic. I'm a asthmatic tarot reader, and I've been under a bit of stress, as everybody has been during the pandemic, and that has been affecting my asthma. So there'll be some, you might hear me wheezing, the wheezing on the video. So we have here several fives. Fives are about transformation. Fives are about deconstruction as well. The first one we have here is the Five of Swords, which is, it could be, it depends on the situation. Five of Swords can be sneaky behavior, or it can be winning at any cost, something that you really care about. Now, that can go on a negative side, or that can be on a positive side. Depends on the other cards, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a person without morals or ethics, that the end justifies the means. But it can mean like a really either evaluating that you did things you shouldn't have done, that maybe you didn't play it right or fair, especially when it came to relationships, because this is the Ten of Cups. This is a card of relationships. So we're evaluating if we were treated fairly on our, or how that our road to getting to the Ten of Cups, because the Ten of Cups is a card of the happy family life. It has a rainbow, it has a family, it has a couple and two kids, and they look so happy. It's such a sunny day with the rainbow, and you have all your 10 cups. It's a beautiful card. It's a beautiful energy of the happy ending. It can also, of course, it's not only about relationships or about having a family. It's also about feeling fulfilled in life, feeling that happiness, feeling your place, feeling like you have found your soul tribe, right? And your family can be your friends, not necessarily just a companion. But I do feel, because of the influence of Venus, that we've been meditating about this, about our relationships, if we have acted fairly, if some people have acted unfairly on us in regards to our partners, to our past partners. Also, I see the Five of Cups is about spilled milk. So we're thinking about past relationships where maybe we could have done things better, or maybe we're wishing things would be better because we're only focusing on the spilled milk and not on the things that was the good things that are still going on. We also have like the influence of the card of the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is about wishes fulfilled. So this card's what they tell me, and this is the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is when you're overburdened. So the energy here is telling me that what we are all meditating about, or the influence that we're feeling, is how can we get our wishes fulfilled in our relationships? How can we get a good relationship going on? how can we do things better. We're meditating about the things we don't like. We might be a bit gloomy, maybe because of Mercury retrograde. That's very possible. We feel nostalgic, maybe about past relationships, or we feel a bit of melancholy about the things that are not going right in our relationship, and we really wish things were more utopic, that would flow better, that it didn't feel like a burden. And for people that are not in a relationship, then this is also the same feeling that you're meditating about your past relationships, and you're thinking about how can you get to that 10 of cups, how can you get to that, to find that partner that is gonna make you feel like they belong to you and you belong to them. That's the feeling that I have for this, the particular influence of the planets right now. And I thought it was only me that was feeling it, but several people are feeling it. I remember it's Mercury retrograde, and along the best known tarot readers out there, including Missy. Missy's quite the institute in tarot reading. I love her tarot readings. She's so talented. Missy from Saltwater Hills. I always love checking her videos out. And I love her rough edge. I love it. Um, she was saying that during the Mercury retrograde, and that's true, we see a lot of past lovers coming back because they're feeling lonely, because they think it's maybe we're a good option because our exes, right? Because it was easy with us. And so you have to be careful. Who you're inviting back into your life, maybe you might feel like that was a good idea. During this time, things can feel a bit of like an illusion, so it's very, very important to wait after Mercury goes back into goes out of retrograde, to make like definite decisions if you want to go out with an ex, if it's really worth it. I mean, just wait it out to see if you might change your mind after Mercury retrograde. Uh, Usually in the tarot world, it is recommended, and those that of course do astrology, and astrology and tarot are basically the same thing, even though some people might not agree or might not see it. But the tarot cards, as I said, have a correlation with the planets. So it is known that during this time it's better not to make definite decisions, especially in love. But that doesn't mean that there could not be a good relationship coming to you, and don't totally dismiss it. Just take it slow. It might be something worth it. So we're doing this evaluation of that. We've had a rough time, or we felt overburdened with the way our relationships have gone, and what we're really looking forward to is having that 9 of cups, which is wishes fulfilled, feeling like you are with your right match. And I feel this energy is particularly heavy, or has a stronger emotional heaviness to us because of the pandemic. And why because of the pandemic? Because we've all been lonely. I mean, we've been on lockdown, we haven't been able to hug each other, we haven't been able to kiss each other, and we would take it for granted. We take for granted hugs and kisses, and not only in a romantic sense, because of course they're what's more intense, of course, than a hug from someone you love and you feel the hots for, right? And a passionate kiss. I mean, what's more magical than that? But also, we shouldn't take for granted kissing our parents in the cheek, and then giving them bear hugs, and giving bear hugs to our best friends, to our soul tribe, to our siblings. Um, we are feeling isolated. Of course, we're feeling isolated. And we know, well, we're coming into the realization that when we're going through tough times, there's no better support than having a good partner by your side when you're going through thick and thin. And thankfully, well, that doesn't mean that you need a partner to have a good life. That's not true, of course not. You have your support, emotional support. Um, network of friends, of family. You can always Zoom, you can always send them WhatsApp messages, or you can leave them voice messages so that they hear you. Maybe writing is, it takes a long time to say how you're feeling in a text, but maybe you can leave them a voice message. Hey, how you doing, my friend? I just wanted to let you know how I'm doing, catch you up, or send them something funny, and you let them know how you're feeling. So it makes a whole difference to let your friends know how you're feeling, and at least someone hears you out and gives you another perspective, right? So that's, we always have that. You should not forget that you always have your network of people that love you. But that being said, having a good partner by your side is not the same thing as having a good friend you can talk to when you are in trouble or when you feel burdened, right? Um, it's not the same thing when you have a good partner that can read in your face that you're not doing well and will tell you, "Hey, honey, can I help you with this?" Or they already know you so well that they can cheer you up, they can make you feel better, and they can tell you when you're overburdened, "Hey, baby, things are gonna be okay. Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay." And when you feel that the other person is the one who's feeling the burden, then you do the same thing for them. we I believe we're getting into that point collectively where we are understanding the difference that it makes to have a good partner in our life that is our our team player, our brother in arms, right? For goodness and for health and for disease and for everything. I mean, because yeah, of course, our friends love us, but they're not gonna have the devotion that a partner has for someone that they love. When you get sick, when you're in trouble, I mean, they're gonna be on top of you if they really care about you, because that is what you would do as a good partner. So I think this is the energy that I'm feeling. We're all evaluating this. Who do we want in our lives? What kind of relationship we want? What kind of partner we want? And I think we're doing a different evaluation of the partnerships, the romantic partnerships that we want to make, that we want to create, that we want to find, that we want to strive for, because of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic also brings us into perspective death. Death has become more real for the entire planet. It's a possibility. It's closer to us than it was before, because we used to live in a in a reality where that there's such a big denial of death in our culture, especially in our capitalist world, right? Where we see it for women. You get a gray hair and you have to cover that up because, God forbid, you're going old. You're growing old, that means you're going to die. We're all going to die. It's part of our life. And well, for me personally, I had a near death experience when I was a child, when I was 10 years old. And that really changed me because death became something real for me. And it became real in the sense that it put the rest of my life in perspective of the things that I was not going to tolerate, because I know life is short. I know life is short, and um, it can be taken away from you anytime. So it is your duty to make sure you're living a life where you feel happy, where you feel comfortable, when you say, okay, if something happened to me tomorrow, I am at least feeling content, or at least I'm feeling balanced with my life. And of course, there will be for sure moments where you're going to be unbalanced, moments when it's going to be fucking difficult. Um, Moments when it's going to be painful, because life is about a plethora of emotions, of the good emotions and the bad emotions. And the bad emotions, they are worthy because they give an extra value to the good emotions, because when we're having a good time, we really appreciate it because we have gone through bad times. So when the good times come, there's such a blessing. We do see the importance of that, and we see the importance of, like now with the pandemic, the importance of even having someone to watch Netflix with, someone to have your breakfast with. And I think we have a lot of society, a lot of people have gone into the pattern of everything is fast food, everything's quick, everything's shallow, superficial. It's about consumerism. It's about even quick relationships, right? Because in quick relationships or casual sex, we don't have to work on our inner selves. We don't have to work on our inner traumas. We don't have to work on how our childhood traumas affect our current romantic relationships, because that is, there's such a correlation to that. Until you fix, well, not fix because they're never going to go away, but until you have sat down with your childhood traumas and you hugged your childhood traumas and you understood about your childhood traumas, and you make the effort to understand how they affect you on your adult life, you probably won't be able to have a good relationship with anybody, a romantic relationship, because you're going to keep bringing up your childhood traumas. You're going to repeat them with your romantic partner. So that's very important, and I think we're all evaluating that about our. I think the line is not only about relationships. We probably might also be thinking about our parents and trying to see them in a different light and a more compassionate light, and that is really helpful. If you want to heal your childhood traumas, you must see your parents through compassionate eyes, because in reality, most of them, unless they were really like had mental problems and they really damaged you, and even if they did, then they were out of their head. I mean, they had mental problems. Um, that at the moment what they did was what they thought was the best. And if we think about it, society has evolved so much on regards to human rights, on regards to treating your children properly. It wasn't until recently that there were rights for children. Before then, there was not even social services taking care of children, or it wasn't as strong as it is right now. So it is a different society than the ones that our parents had and their grandparents had, where there wasn't really a thought of how to be a good parent, or how certain parenting methods or things that you did were going to scar your children for life, right? So now we have all that information of how we can be better parents and bring more secure children that feel emotionally secure, and they feel that they got their confidence built by their parents and they were brought up right, and these are the people that can turn up to be great relationship partners, because they had a good heart. They saw a good harmony between their parents and how their parents treated them, and that makes for a wholesome human. um, so I think we're meditating on that. Some of us, maybe that's only me who's going that far, but I don't know. I feel like the influence is strong, is not, and it is definitely connected. There is a connection, absolutely, between um, the conditions we had with our parents and what type of people they were, the attachment that they gave us, and the partners that we look later for life. We usually um, repeat cycles, and for our attachment, for our emotional, um, for those that are closest to us, because who is closer to you than your parents or your partner? Nobody is. That's the closest relationship you're ever gonna have in your life. And when you have children, of course, with your children. But it is a straight line if you think about it. So if you wanna if you're really meditating about how to have a good relationship, then you have to go back to the source. You have to go back to how your parents treated each other, how they treated you, the things that made you insecure, maybe the situations that made you think that you were not enough, and or made you think that you had to be perfect for them to love you. So many things that all of us are running on that program without even knowing. And it's so important to become conscious of that, so that you can become conscious on your relationships, on your romantic relationships. And I see, well, here's this. I did it the other way because I'm lefty. So I guess sometimes I do it on like I go the other way around. So starting here with this other part, what we have here is the Six of um, Wands and the Six of Swords. Now, both of them signify movement, and they are both positive cards. The Six of Wands is about victory. It's about success. It's about people recognizing your efforts and recognizing even your value as well, or you yourself recognizing your value. And the Six of Swords is moving into calmer waters, um, moving into a place where you feel more appreciated. And this could be something mental, this could that you're doing, or psychological, that you're finding your own value as a person. Or maybe it's around you, you're seeing, I don't know, maybe you're finding suitors that are finding value in, or are seeing the value you have, and they're interested in you, and they want to move forward with you, maybe. You certainly, the feeling is also as well internal, about each of us that want to move into calmer waters. We want to have a better life, and this is what the pandemic is bringing into focus for all of us, is what's the life we want to create after this virus is gone, after we can go to normal life, and we can mingle again, and we can hug each other, and we can kiss each other without feeling so scared that they're going to give us COVID. We are evaluating exactly that. What's the kind of world we want after all this chaos, after so many things went down to the ground? Um, what we want to, how we want to keep creating our lives and the society as well. I think it's collective, it's individual, and it's also collective. And I see here, this is the King of Wands. King of Wands is if there's a king that is into action, that's the King of Wands. He's full of passion, and he's not into only talking, he's into doing. I mean, he knows where his passion is, and he goes and he gets it. So this is what the universe is trying to tell us for this week, to grab the bull by the horns. I mean, to sit down, of course, and do all the process that I was talking about in length, and then to decide, sit down and decide, okay, I am going to be the captain of my boat, and where is my passion? And here we have the card of exactly the Ace of Wands, which is the card of passion, is the card of inspiration, it's a card of action, is the card of fire. It is also some related to love, because if you might have a crush on someone, but if you don't have the fire to go and pursue them, the fire that would burn uh, through your fears of rejection, then you're probably never going to tell that person how you feel about them, unless you feel that intensity. And unless you feel that intensity for life, you're probably not going to do any changes at all. You're not going to do any drastic changes. You're just going to keep, in the flow and floating, and just letting whatever life take you in a way of what's it called, your basically you're just drifting without a sense of purpose or a real direction. So what the call here is to do, to get real, what is it that is your passion, and to strongly pursue it, because realize that life is not eternal. We have a limited time on this planet, and we have a limited time that we are young, and we have a limited time that we can do things we want. We have a limited time to share it with the people we love. And I think all of that is getting into the energy, the collective energy, because of the influence of the planets, because of Venus and Mercury. Precisely, they're getting us into that, and because it's going into retrograde, it's also making us think about our parents. As I said, the influence of our parents on our relationships, on our romantic relationships, is absolutely direct. If you think about it, either we look for someone that is like our parent, or we look for someone that is the total opposite of our parents. But in any shape or form, you're being influenced by the parenting style you had. You're being influenced. That's your program. That's your program when you go into a relationship. You still own that program that you develop as a child. So, on regards to feeling vulnerable, in regards to how it how you analyze how someone that you know loves you, how they treat you, and whether you normalize. And some of us might have normalized that a bit of rough parents, or parents that are very critical, or even aggressive or violent parents. We have normalized it as something that's okay, and then we look for the same thing in our partners because it feels very familiar to us. Okay, pun intended. It feels familiar. So, and that might not be, and that's absolutely toxic. We're keeping the same cycle that probably our parents are also following, and their grandparents are following. So we have now a chance with the pandemic, who's breaking apart so many paradigms, to break the chains, and change your karma. And last, we have here the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is the card of the truth, of the absolute truth, the cutting truth, getting to the bottom of it, to the truth of it all. So what does it mean? That we are in that process right now. We're in that process probably until July 7th, July 11th, even mid-July, of getting real to where our passion is, and what do we want in our lives, and to becoming the captain of our boats. And we can only do that if we feel passion of to where we want to go. Unless you know where you want to go, and that doesn't mean like to a location specifically, but where you want to go with your relationship, where you want to go with your life, where you want to work, go with your job, where you want to go with the perspective you have about life, even where you want to go, and how you're behaving with your siblings, how you're behaving with your parents, how you're behaving with friends. It's about getting real about what is important to you while you have the privilege of being alive, because we've lost a lot of people because of this pandemic, and that is bringing into focus that we are privileged to still be standing, we're still breathing, and how do we want to continue living our lives. So that would be the message for this week. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to leave a comment about how you were feeling during the full moon. Um, um, any, I don't know, anything you want to share, or if you want to share about how you're feeling about all this, you're more than welcome to do so. So I hope that was helpful, and I send you lots of blessings.